Hey yo guys, what's up and welcome back to Toe Tags Metal Reviews and sharing our first impressions of the new releases from Infected Rain, The Last 10 Seconds of Life, and Morbid Saint. So 3 releases today that we're covering, kind of like spreading the genres out. Which
yeah,
I like when that happens. I like when the releases are kind of different,
very
genre-wise, diverse day. Yes, exactly. So I started my day with Infected Rain. The album's called Time. We've covered this band on the channel a few times. We reviewed an album. We've done a few reactions to this band. And so the album starts with a song called Because I Let You. For one, all the song titles are in caps, so it feels like the album's yelling at me just by looking at the song titles.
Because I let you.
Yeah. So my immediate thought, and this might not even be a fair criticism for a first impression, but I felt like it sounded like OTEP. I'm not a huge OTEP fan, and it's been a while since I've listened to OTEP, other than they released an album a year or two ago, I think. But that's the vibe I kept getting. This sounds like OTEP. Did other Infected Rain sound like OTEP? It's been a while since I listened to this band, so I was kind of just right away kind of thrown off. But I thought, this is not bad. I can kind of get behind this, groove with it, whatever. But as the album kept going on, I was just kind of feeling like it's all samey stuff. It just didn't have really a lot of strength to it. There was a couple things that maybe stood out a little bit. I'll say track number 3, Never to Return, had a bit of this Middle Eastern or Arabian type of vibe to it in the instruments.
I thought it was like a Japanese string instrument.
Could be, I don't know. Sometimes you hear something and you're your mind goes one place, it could be something else. It was something different.
It was something cool.
Whether it was Japanese, Arabian, maybe something completely else, I don't know. It stood out. Track number 6, Vivarium, I thought also stood out a bit. This one had kind of a syncopated, genty-ish style rhythm to it. Nothing much more than that to say about it. It just kind of stood out in that respect. But overall, the band is just kind of doing their thing. I feel like Lena's vocals are fine. I feel like her cleans are really strong. Her harshes are well done. There's nothing wrong with them, but they just feel very just average, I guess you could say, without being mean, if that makes sense.
I mean, yeah, I think this band has the ability to make really good stuff, but I think the problem comes with how they put a lot of these songs together. So this, once I heard, the first track, I kind of thought to myself, I feel like this is just really the tone of the album. Yeah. Where it's you got some new metal groove, and then there's some electronic stuff, and then there's a clean vocal part, and that's it. And my problem with this record is that every single song had that. It was pretty much just that for the whole record. It felt like that formula being overused. And I think the way that you fix that is you have songs dedicated to one of these 3 elements. Have a 2-minute barn burner, no cleans, no nothing.
Yeah.
And then after that, or before that, have the clean one. You create dynamics. You also make the album a little bit more unpredictable, which ironically enough, there is a track on this record called Unpredictable, which I guess that's funny, but you make the record a lot harder to predict by doing that.
Yeah.
And on top of that, you get that 2-minute song, you make that the single, you drop a video for that, everyone's gonna be talking about it oh my God, this band's crazy. You generate so much buzz, people are gonna be listening to the record when it comes out. So, and I'm not saying the whole album has to sound like that by any means. I'm just saying you should dedicate a little bit more to each track instead of doing the same 3 things in every song. Now, we talked a little bit about Never to Return already. That is one of the more standout tracks for me. Lighthouse is a good example of if you hard commit to one of the grooves here, the hard groove in Lighthouse, commit to that just for that song, makes the song better, because then the light stuff that comes after that is also going to be interesting, and you kind of want that, okay, something hard, here's something soft, interesting. It's a palate cleanser. Vivarium and Pandemonium both have this cool synth in the background, really synth wavy, and I like that. But just in general, it kind of just felt like the same thing happening over and over, and I wish this band had a bit more dynamics within the range of the album, because I feel like that would have made this album a lot better than I felt that it was based on listening to it for the first time.
Okay, so that's that.
What's
Next album, we're gonna talk about "Swallowed by Hell" by Morbid Saint.
Ooh, Morbid Saint.
So Morbid Saint, thrash band from 1989 when they released their debut, and then they broke up for 26 years and released an album in 2015 called Spectrum of Death. And then they disappeared for another 9 years and it finally dropped Swallowed by Hell. So this band's been around since '89 and have only dropped 3 albums, which is kind of insane. They might be the most spread out albums in history. Like, I don't know any other band that's had albums that spread out.
Like, these guys are essentially OGs in thrash metal.
Yeah.
Only 3 albums since that time. It's kind of crazy to consider.
That is crazy to consider. So I'll just say I've never listened to this band before. I was going into this pretty blind, I would say. But I gotta say, I feel like this album is banger after banger after banger. Now, the problem is, do the songs all sound too similar to the Infected Rain issue, where all the songs kind of just sound like the same kind of thing? I think they do in a way. Like when you get to the soloing, when you get to the main thrash grooves and all that stuff, it's very samey. But I think these songs have a lot of characteristics in them that really do make them stand out. So, an example is track number 3, Bloody Floors. This song starts with like one of the sickest chunky bass lines I've heard in a long time, and it just rides it, and then it gets into like the thrashy goodness. Like every song is gonna start and then get into the thrashy goodness, right? Fear Incarnate has a similar thing, but it's on drums. Most of my notes involve the solos or the endings of the song, so they have nice closers. But overall, it's just like, when I listen to thrash metal, this is what I'm looking for. Like, this is just like high energy. The double bass is just pounding. The solos are very noodly, just lots of notes happening. But I feel like there's like some creativity there. I feel like there's some characteristics there that kind of make it stand out and make it maybe a little bit more special than like another standard typical thrash album. So I actually thoroughly enjoyed this album, and I'm really glad that it came out because, yeah, I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat that I've never really checked out this band before, so this was my first impression of the band as a whole. And when it started, I found that it was like a mix of 2 awesome thrash bands. It sounded like a hybrid of Destruction and Creator.
Okay.
But the vocals aren't quite like the other 2. It kind of sounds like Schmear. Maybe not as like good as Schmear, but like still, I got the vibe from both of those bands in this album, which is a really good combination. I think both those bands are awesome, so that's cool. I did make a bunch of notes on songs, but the one that I liked the most was Fear Incarnate. The drum intro was super duper awesome with the guitars coming in on top of that as it goes. Sick song. That one was an instant playlist for me.
Yeah.
And also Bloody Floors, I like that one too. A funny thing I noticed is that the intro to Burn Pit sounds like something you'd hear from F-Zero.
Oh, like F-Zero the game, yeah.
Like there was someone that did original F-Zero songs in the style of F-Zero X. This sounds like something that would have been from that. Nice. And that was awesome, like those renditions of those songs. So that is a huge compliment. But yeah, I thought that was cool. The feet are flying on this record. Big ups to this drummer, like amazing foot dexterity, just constantly going for most of these songs. Now, I was kind of finding a little bit of an issue near the end of the album where I'm like, you know, a lot of these songs are kind of similar to each other, like having a similar issue to the Infected Rain album, but yeah, it's kind of like the same song, but fuck, is it a good one.
Yeah.
Not to say that it's just like dull. It's like, a lot of the songs are similar, like super duper fast, crazy, whatever. But man, is it good and enjoyable, you know? And I feel like you could put this album on shuffle and get like the same kind of fun experience every time with like, no matter what song you start on. But I do think that there was a lot of cool and fun stuff in it. Like, it's a really good thrash record. Like, there's a lot of thrash records we check out that kind of are dull.
They kind of come and go.
They come and go.
Yeah.
There's not too much notable, but I feel like this album is going to have stuff that stands out and stuff that really gets you thinking, whoa, okay, these guys are crazy.
Yeah. I guess you get a knack for creativity after being around for 40 years.
I guess, yeah.
Almost 40 years. Anyways, last album that we checked out for the day is Last 10 Seconds of Life, No Name Graves, which I think is a pretty cool album name. No Name Graves.
Neat. I think their last record was just a self-titled record, which is just kind of weird to consider. The Last 10 Seconds of Life by The Last 10 Seconds of Life.
Yeah.
Didn't check that one out though. This is, I guess, new for both of us.
Yeah, it is new for me as well. I wasn't quite sure what to expect coming into this either. But you know what? You take the floor. What did you think of it?
Well, you know what? The first thing I thought is that these guys are mean.
Yeah?
Like, instantly thought these guys got like a hardcore kind of beat down sound, but with modern death metal on top of that. And I thought that was really cool. It's like the kind of record you could just stomp around to. Just,
Yeah.
Thought it was really cool. The 30-second note kick, those coming in near the end of the first track was really, really cool. Which is nice, because it's set up for being like a slow track, and then they bring that in like, oh, okay, it's hitting harder now. I kind of found throughout the album, it was kind of like every song is kind of like the slow beater, so it's kind of weird that I found that all three of these albums kind of had a similar thing going on in that way, but in different senses.
Where like each song for the album kind of sounds similar, like kind of they're riding in the same kind of vein.
Yeah, it's just like they all three of these albums do it in different ways.
Right.
But with this album, it was just fun. Every track was a lot of fun, jumping, like stomping around, like, yeah, this is cool. And it's kind of crazy because I'm thinking it's kind of like the same vibe, but I like it, and it's weird. There are a few features too. I couldn't really discern them super well because one of them is Suffocation, who we've checked out before. Another one is Sangosugabog, we've also checked out before. I forgot who the third one was.
I forgot to, and I didn't write it down.
Couldn't really discern them through the album, but I mean, it's cool that they're there, right?
Yeah.
In Body of a Bastard, at the 1 minute 22 second mark, we get hit by the fee, fi, fo, fum from the singer, which was so funny. I heard that like, what?
I thought it was cool. I mean, funny's a good way to put it, I guess, but I thought that was like an awesome part. Like that, to me, that went in the playlist for that.
Yeah.
I was like, this is fucking rad.
Yeah, no, I heard that. I'm just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I liked it. I thought that was cool.
I did like that though. Like, it's like, I can tell like they're having fun with stuff.
Yeah.
And since when do you hear Jack and the Beanstalk in a metal record like that, you know? One big thing for this album that really stood out the most though was the guitar work. I found that a lot of stuff stood out to me because there was a cool guitar line going on or some cool solo or something really interesting happening, and that might have been a part of why I still thought the album was staying fresh even though it was a similar vibe with every track.
Yeah.
That the guitar was always doing something interesting. I was always thinking, oh, now they're doing this, now they're doing that. Really, really good stuff from the guitar on this album.
Yeah, I agree with TV Fish. I had a lot of fun with this album as well. I think it kind of reminded me like if 6 Feet Under was a little bit more like mid-tempo and down-tuned, like that kind of thing, right? It almost has kind of a slammy vibe to it. I don't know what genre they would fit into, to be honest, specifically. Probably a bit of a hybrid. But yeah, there's just a lot of nice chuggy grooves, and just, you said the word jump, and I feel like that's a good way to put it. Not that it's really a bouncy album, but it just, I don't know, there's something feel good about it. There really
slow
is.
Bounce.
It's a slow bounce, but it sounds mean though. It's got an aggressive nature to it, but there's just something about it that is very just bouncy. It's very fun almost. Like you can tell they're having fun playing it and recording it, right? So I had fun with it. My standout tracks were Body of a Bastard, track number 4, and Debt to the Dark, which is track number 9. You know, there's just songs that just stand out sometimes, right? But I think the whole album was pretty enjoyable. I will definitely revisit it again. But we talked before we started recording this video to try to figure out which album we're going to review this week. And after several minutes of debate, we decided Swallowed by Hell by Morbid Saint is going to be the album for the week. So we're going to be playing it as much as we possibly can all week long. We'll be back next week to give you our full and final review of that album. But in the meantime, let us know what you guys think of these new releases. Be sure to check all of them out, regardless of our opinions, and sound off down below and let us know what you guys think of each and every one of them. For now, hit that subscribe button and like the video if you liked it. I'm Vile Self.
I'm TV Fish.
And we'll see you guys on the next one. Keep those heads banging.